Alright, students, let's go ahead and now revise the chapter of registration. Sir, can you please go ahead and give us a quick linking? Yes, Baba, I'll go ahead and give you a quick linking of the chapter. We started learning GST with what, everyone? Goods or service. Whenever goods or service will be supplied, supply can be either interstate supply or supply can be intrastate. Interstate supply, IGST will be levied. Intrastate supply, CGST will be levied. Once GST is levied, GST has to be collected and paid by a taxable person. Now, sir, what do you mean by taxable person? Baba, taxable person means a person who is registered or liable to be registered under section number 22 or 24. Can I go ahead, everyone? In the chapter of registration, when we go ahead and talk, we'll be talking about section number 22, section number 23, and section number 24. Section number 22 says people who are liable. Section number 23 says people who are not liable. Section number 24 goes ahead and talks about compulsory registration. And we have section number 25 to section number 30, which is basically relating to the procedural things which are there. Section number 25 says what are the procedures for registration. 26 will come deemed registration. 27 is special provision with respect to CTP and NRTP. 28 will come for amendment. 29 cancellation and 30 revocation of cancellation. Now everyone over here to your chart, we'll go ahead and now learn, revise section number 22, people who are liable. Section number 23, people who are not liable, persons who are not liable, and section number 24, who are required compulsory registration. When you go ahead and learn section number 22, section number 22, one goes ahead and says, sir, who will be liable? Supplier will be liable in the state or union territory from where he makes taxable supply when his aggregate turnover crosses 20 lakh rupees. Sir, provisos are there which goes ahead and says, if you are doing taxable supply from a special category state, which is M square and T, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura, then you will be liable if your aggregate turnover crosses 10 lakh. But section number 21 has to be read with the notification which has been issued under section number 23.2, which goes ahead and says, sir, if you are exclusive supplier of goods up to 40 lakh rupees, then Baba, if you are exclusive supplier of goods, then up to 40 lakh rupees you are not required registration. But sir, this 40 lakh limit is not applicable, not available to sir, those people who are required compulsory registration under section number 24. If you are required compulsory registration, then to Baba compulsory. What 20 lakh, what 10 lakh, what 40 lakh. And this is also not available to persons supplying what? Pan masala. Aerated water I have not included here. Only pan masala ke liye 40 lakh rupees limit is not applicable. It means, sir, if I am supplier of aerated water, cold drinks, etc., then Baba 40 lakh limit you will get. Who will not get 40 lakh ka limit? Pan masala wala supplier, ice cream and other edible ice ka supplier, tobacco and tobacco substitute ka supplier who is there. Sir, supplier means who is manufacturing and selling. Then also is a supplier. If you are buying and selling, then also you are a supplier. Then, sir, fly as bricks, blocks or aggregate ka supplier, bricks of fossil meal or similar siliceous earth, building bricks, earthen or roofing, tile. If you are a supplier of this item, then also 40 lakh rupees limit is not applicable to you. You will be getting a limit of 20 lakh rupees. But one point I told you, aerated water wala, I've cut it over here. Hence, aerated water wala will get 40 lakh ka higher limit. The next one is if you are a Bakra exercising voluntary registration or you intend to continue with your registration, then what 40 lakh rupees limit to you. And also, if you are an intrastate supplier within the state supplier in M square NT and Pumas of Telangana, then Baba 40 lakh rupees limit is not applicable to you. What I went ahead and did is section number 22. One, read with section number 23, 2 notification. I have gone ahead and told you the registration limit over here. That, sir, if you are in the state of M square NT, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura, for you the limit will be always 10 lakh rupees. If you are there in the state of Pumas of Telangana, sir, Pumas means P for Puducherry, Uttarakhand, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, and Telangana. For you, the limit will be 20 lakh rupees. 20 lakh for supplier of goods, 20 lakh for supplier of service, goods plus service also 20 lakh rupees. Sir, then we have Oak of Himachal Pradesh, all the other states basically which are there, other states plus Assam, Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. Remember, supplier of goods, the limit is 40 lakh rupees. Supplier of service, the limit is 20 lakh. Goods plus service also 20 lakh rupees. But this 40 lakh will not be applicable if you are required compulsory registration. If you are going ahead and supplying those pan masala, ice cream, tobacco, bricks and earthen or roofing tile, or Baba, if you are going ahead and taking registration voluntarily, then also 40 lakh rupees ka limit is not applicable. Can I go ahead, everyone? Now we have over here, it says section number 21 ka provisos goes ahead and says, second proviso says government has the power to increase in case of special category state the limit from 10 lakh to 20 lakh. Okay, sir. Government also has that power to go ahead and increase on the request of a state and recommendation of council the limit for exclusive supplier of goods from 20 lakh to 40 lakh. But government did not use the power. Government used this power under section number 23(2) and has exempted the threshold limit for supplier of goods up to how much, everyone? 40 lakh. Government told up to 40 lakh if you are exclusive supplier of goods, then you are not required to take registration. The next one over here is always remember one thing. If you are going ahead and giving interest, if you are going giving loans in advance or depositing money and you are getting interest, interest is what? Interest in an exempt supply of service. Exempt supply of service comes in your aggregate turnover. Correct, everyone? Exempt supply of service comes in your aggregate turnover, but because you have exempt supply of service of giving money to use and receiving interest, that will not make you ineligible for a higher limit of 40 lakh rupees. Baba, exclusive supplier of goods get 40 lakh rupees, and even if you have interest income, you will be assumed as an exclusive supplier of goods. Interest will come in your aggregate turnover, but still you will be assumed as you will be deemed as exclusive supplier of goods and you will be given a high limit of 40 lakh rupees. Are we clear, everyone? Baba, always remember one thing. It says the section number 25(2) goes ahead and says now, sir, who are the person? Whoever was registered under the existing law. Existing law means VAT, service tax, etc. With the coming of GST, now you are liable to register under GST from the appointment date. Appointment date of GST for registration provision was 22nd of June 2017. The next one over here is section number 23. Transfer is liable from the date of transfer or succession, provided the supplier, the transferor was a registered person and he has transferred the business as going concern. The next one over here is section number 24. In case of transfer of business, basically amalgamation, demerger, etc., because of court or tribunal ka order, always remember the day ROC issued certificate of incorporation, from that day you become liable. Section number 22, may I went ahead and told you section number 21, supplier liable when he crosses 40 lakh, 20 lakh or 10 lakh. Section number 22(2), existing registered person on the appointment date. 23, transferee on the date of transfer or succession. 24, transferee in case of court order, basically on the date the certificate of incorporation is given. Why am I telling you when do you become liable? Because the day you become liable, you should always apply for registration within 30 days. That is told by section number 25. Can we go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is section number 23. So section number 23 has section number 23(1)(a) and B. Section number 23(1)(a) goes ahead and says if you are exclusively engaged in supplying of those goods, services, or both, when you're not liable to pay any tax, or those goods, services are basically wholly exempted from tax, then they are going ahead and telling if you don't have to pay anything, why will you take registration? Then the second point over here is agriculturist. Agriculturist, if it does cultivation of land, to the extent of cultivation of land, he is not required to take registration. Agriculturist, whatever he grows, even if the item pe GST is there, but because he has grown and is selling, there will be no GST. But basically, GST is there, but he will not have to take registration, so he will not have to collect any GST. Even if his turnover is 5 crore also, because he is cultivating and selling, not required registration. Can I go ahead, everyone? Remember one thing, who is an agriculturist, everyone? An agriculturist means I am individual or HUF who puts his own labor, Baba, who does cultivation of land by own labor, or he has got his family to work, family labor, or he or family and watching, and servants are working by servants on wages, or hired laborers under personal or family supervision. Right, everyone? The next one over here is section number 23(2), which goes ahead and says notified category of person are exempted. First notified category we went ahead and learned with section number 22(1). Now the remaining notified category I've gone ahead and told you section number 24. Section number 24 goes ahead and talks about compulsory registration. Baba, section number 24 says, forget what is told in section number 22(1). Without any threshold limit, you will be required compulsory registration. Section number 24 may, the first one over here, it says, sir, if you are a person making interstate supply, if you are a person making interstate supply, interstate taxable supply, then you will be required compulsory registration. But then people went ahead and tried, and hence, Baba, handicraft goods and craftsman goods ka supplier who are making handicraft goods and craftsman goods mainly by hand, predominantly by hand, even though some machine is used, but predominantly by hand, if you are making, then you are required you were exempted up to 20 lakh or 10 lakh. Even if you are supplying interstate, 20 lakh or 10 lakh that you are exempted from compulsory registration. But sir, other goods ka supplier, interstate supplier will be required always compulsory registration. Then Baba, interstate supplier of service came and told, sir, what about interstate supplier of service? Then government went ahead and told, see, interstate supplier of service, you are also exempted up to 20 lakh or 10 lakh. So sir, if I am a supplier of handicraft goods or craftsman goods, which are made predominantly by hand, if I am in the state of M square and T, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, then 10 lakh tak I am given exemption. If I am from the state, any other state in up to 20 lakh, the exemption is given. Exemption is not given up to 40 lakh. Exemption is up to 20 lakh or 10 lakhs only. So, sir, if I cross 20 lakh rupees, even though you are a supplier of goods, for an example, from Karnataka, you will have to go ahead and take registration compulsorily. Baba, 20 to 1 ka limit will not apply to you. Can I go ahead, everyone? Are we all clear? Section number 21 read with the notification gave 40 lakh a limit, but you are not exempted up to 40 lakh. You are exempted only up to 20 lakh or 10 lakh. Are we all clear, everyone? Remember one thing, interstate means exports. Also, right, everyone? Interstate means exports are also interstate. So whenever you are going ahead and doing export of goods, 20 lakh or 10 lakh a limit is there, but in export of services, sorry, export of goods, compulsory registration. People, export of goods, compulsory registration. Export of goods, what did I say, everyone? Compulsory registration. So if you are a person going ahead and doing export of goods, remember you are an interstate supplier and you will be required to take compulsory registration. But if you are an interstate supplier of service, 20 lakh or 10 lakh taka exemption is there. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is, sir, casual taxable person making taxable supply. If you are a casual taxable person who is occasionally undertaking transaction in goods, services, or both, and Baba, you are going to any other state where you don't have a fixed place of business, then you are a casual taxable person. You have to take compulsory registration. But sir, again, exempted under section number 23(2) is what, everyone? Casual taxable person making interstate taxable supply of handicraft goods was exempted up to 20 lakh or 10 lakh rupees. Then, sir, if you are required to pay tax under RCAM, you have to take compulsory registration. But here also, government went ahead and told recipient is required compulsory registration. Supplier exempted, even though his turnover. Supplier, Baba, I am always going to pay the tax under RCM. So that supplier, even though his turnover crosses 20 lakh or 10 lakh, he is exempted from registration. Then, sir, if already, sir, I have to pay tax under RCM, I have to take compulsory registration. If I am already registered, don't take registration again. Can we go ahead, everyone? And it says exemption under 23(2), person making taxable supply where the tax is payable under RCM. Sir, supplier ka case mein, they have exempted him because always the tax will be paid by recipient. Recipient will take compulsory registration and supplier will be exempted. The next one over here is, if I am a person who is required to pay tax under section number 9(5) in case of transportation of passenger by motor cab, maxi cab, etc. H for housekeeping services, A for accommodation service, and R for restaurant service. Whenever the e-commerce operator is liable, e-commerce has to take compulsory registration. Remember one thing, notified services are transportation of passenger by radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, etc. Housekeeping services, accommodation service, and restaurant service, THAR, THAR. The next one over here is non-resident taxable person. Remember, non-resident taxable person is a person who occasionally undertakes transaction of goods, services, or both in a place. Basically, has come to India, and in India, he does not have a fixed place of business or he does not have a residence. Then, in India, he is a NRTP, and NRTP has to take compulsory registration, and the registration is 5 days prior. He has to apply, and when he's applying, he has to pay advance main net estimated tax liability. Yes, everyone. The next one over here is TDS deductor. Baba, TDS deductor, Department of Central Government, State Government, Local Authority, Governmental Agency, or notified categories which are there. Those people who are the TDS deductor, when they have to deduct TDS, they have to take separate registration as a TDS deductor. The next one over here is, sir, if I am a person who is applying on behalf of other taxable person, as an agent or otherwise, Baba, my boss is registered who is supplying me the goods and I'm supplying it further in my own invoice, then I'm an agent as per section number 71C. This agent needs to take compulsory registration if his boss is a registered person. The next one over here is ISD, Input Service Distributor. Always remember one thing, if I have Reliance head office, supposedly, head office wants to distribute the credit to its branches of the input services, head office has to take registration as an input service distributor. And it's a separate registration. The next one over here is TCS. Baba, remember one thing, section number 95 ka applies to, those cases mein TCS is not applicable. Other than that, Flipkart, Amazon, etc. Baba, this and this has to be read together. Always remember one thing. If supposingly one person places an order on Flipkart and Flipkart directs the order to the supplier, supplier will pack and supply. The supplier is also required compulsory registration because he's supplying through e-commerce, and e-commerce is also required to take compulsory registration as a TCS collector. Always remember one thing, e-commerce operator who is required to collect TCS will have to take compulsory registration, and also the person who is supplying other than 95 wala supplies, because 95 ke liye to always e-commerce is liable or supplier is liable. There TCS provision does not come. So if a person is supplying through e-commerce who is required to deduct what? TCS, required to deduct or collect TCS, then Baba always remember one thing, who will be liable? Person who is supplying will be liable to take compulsory registration. But then government went ahead and told, if you are a supplier of service and your turnover has not crossed 20 lakh or 10 lakh, then Baba, in that scenario, e-commerce will not deduct TCS also, and you will not be required to collect, you will not be required to take compulsory registration also. Are we clear, everyone? Now, I want to ask you, supposingly, under me, all the suppliers who are there, supplier of services, are having turnover of 10 lakh, 12 lakh rupees, and they are not, none of them have crossed the threshold limit. It means under me, all the suppliers who are there are small. Then, Baba, in that scenario, I'll not be required to go ahead and deduct TCS or collect TCS. Then, in that scenario, I'll not be required compulsory registration. But then, sir, e-commerce, when will it take compulsory registration? E-commerce, when will he have to go ahead and take compulsory registration? Only when he goes ahead and crosses the threshold limit. Only when he has to collect TCS, and e-commerce is required to take compulsory registration. One more point. All my suppliers are small, unregistered person. In that scenario, I don't have to collect TCS. Then, sir, in that scenario, what will happen? In that scenario, I will take registration only when my commission income exceeds the 20 lakh or 10 lakh limit. Can I go ahead, everyone? And that is what I have told. E-commerce is not required to deduct TCS. Threshold benefit will be available. The next one is overseas OIDR. Baba, Netflix, etc., who are supplying services from outside India to an unregistered person. In that scenario, they will have to take compulsory registration under section number 24. And the last one is such other person notified by the government on recommendation of council. I told you have to remember CREA. TIONS creations, so that you can remember compulsory registration. Number one, casual taxable person. R for person required to pay tax under RCM. E for person supplying goods through e-commerce. Services wala to is exempted up to 20 lakh or 10 lakh. A for agent. A for aggregators. Aggregators under section number 95. Baba, THAR services. T for TDS deductor. T for TCS collector. I for ISD. I for interstate supplier of goods other than handicraft goods. Getting it? O for OIDAR, who is supplying from outside India to an unregistered person. N for NRTP. S for such other person notified by the government on recommendation of council. Now, over here, when you go ahead and see, one small point is aggregate turnover. Sir, what do you mean by aggregate turnover? Remember, tie 2. Taxable supplies, interstate supplies, exempt and export supplies are always to be included in your aggregate turnover. What is to be excluded always? Inward supplies. Inward supplies on which you are paying the tax. Inward is never your turnover. But outward supplies on recipient will pay tax. But it is my outward. It is my... Can I go ahead, everyone? So it says aggregate turnover. Turnover means taxable, interstate, exempt, and export. Inward supplies to be excluded on which you are paying the tax under RCM. Exclude always GST. And turnover should be calculated. Aggregate. Aggregate means pan-wise turnover on all India basis has to be calculated. Always remember one thing, everyone. If I am an agent selling on behalf of principal, always remember whatever the turnover is there, that because invoice is issued in my name, Baba, when you're supplying on behalf of principal, invoice is in your name, and that will be included in your turnover. The next one over here is supply of goods by registered job worker. Job worker ka premises are supplied, but actually it's a supply of the principal, because principal issues the invoice, it will be included in the turnover of the principal. And always remember outward supply on which recipient will pay the tax. Outward means it is my turnover. Can I go ahead, everyone? Are we all clear with this point, everyone? I went ahead and told you, Baba, we are done with section number 22, 23, 24. This chart is an A-graded chart. Remember, 22, 1, 23 completely, and section number 24. You have to remember this point. This chart may say anything can come. Although section number 22, 3, and 4 might be okay, but otherwise you have to remember this chart completely. Can I go ahead, everyone? I'll close my discussion on the revision for section number 22, 23, and 24. Now, let's go ahead and move to the next section, everyone. The next section over here is section number 25. Everyone listen to me very carefully. Once you become liable under section number 22 or 24, once you become liable under section number 22 or 24, section number 25 comes and section number 25 goes ahead and says person who has become liable should always go ahead and apply for registration within 30 days. Then it goes ahead and talks about a proviso. Proviso goes ahead and says if you are a casual taxable person or a non-resident taxable person, you should always apply 5 days prior to the commencement of your business. Sir, SEZ unit or SEZ developer should always apply for a separate registration. And sir, one explanation says if you are a supplier in the territorial waters of India, please take registration in the nearest coastal state or union territory. Section number 25(1) has to be read with rule number 8, rule number 9, and rule number 10, which is also there. But before I go ahead and do that, I want to go ahead and talk about section number 25(2). Section number 25(2) goes ahead and says if you are a person, you are going ahead and having multiple place of business, always remember one thing: if you have multiple place of business in a state, you may be granted multiple registration. Separate registration may be granted for each place of business if you want. Otherwise, if you want, you can manage with one registration also, or if you want separate registration, separate registration can be granted. And for separate registration, rule number 11 goes ahead and says separate application has to be given in GST REG 01. Along with that, with respect to each place of business, rule number 9 and 10 will apply. Mutatis mutandis means verification will be done and then registration certificate will be granted. Then, sir, section number 25(3) goes ahead and talks about person, even though not liable, but if he still wants to be the bakra and says I want voluntary registration, then Baba voluntary registration can be taken. But remember one thing: what are the effects of voluntary registration, everyone? All the provision of the act will be applicable to the registered person. As applicable to the registered person shall apply to you. It means you should take ITC, you should charge GST, you should set up, pay the balance amount, file your return. All the provision as applicable to a registered person will apply to a voluntary registered person. Can I go ahead, everyone? Remember, there is no lock-in period. If ever you take voluntary registration and you feel you want to cancel, then you can go ahead and cancel your registration. The next one over here is section number 25(4) and section number 25(5). If in the same state, I go ahead and take two separate registration, then both registration will be deemed as what, everyone? Distinct person. Sir, if under my PAN number, one state may take one registration, another state may take one more registration, then also because of separate registration, it will become distinct person. Sir, one state may, one establishment have taken registration, another state may, for an example, I am supplying alcoholic liquor and I have not taken registration, then also this will be deemed as establishment of two different person. Are we clear? Under my PAN, same state, two registration, distinct person. One state registered, another state registered, distinct person. One state, one establishment registered. One state, one establishment not registered, then also distinct person. Everyone over here. Section number 25(6) goes ahead and talks about PAN. Section number 25(6) goes ahead and talks about PAN. It says PAN is mandatory for registration, TDS deductor, and may go ahead and have what, everyone? TAN in order to be eligible for grant of registration. Rule number 12 is applicable. Rule number 12, there is a small amendment. Everyone over here. Rule number 12 goes ahead and talks about applicable. It is applicable to whom? TDS deductor and TCS collector. Whenever they want to apply, they should always apply in GST REC 07. And sir, when they go ahead and apply in part A, they should always go ahead and mention the state where the registration is required, and part B may, they will go ahead and mention the state where the principal place of business is there. And sir, registration will be granted to them within 3 working days. Sir, after verification, basically rule number 9 and rule number 10, verification and then grant of registration certificate. Always remember one thing, note, if proper officer, earlier this facility was not there, the TDS deductor and TCS collector can apply. If you want, you can go ahead and request, means TDS deductor and TCS collector can now request that I want to cancel my registration, or if proper officer upon inquiry or pursuant to any other proceedings is satisfied that person is no longer liable, then he can liable to deduct, or you are no longer liable to collect, then proper officer may cancel the registration. Are we clear, everyone? What is the amendment over here? Now you can also go ahead and request for cancellation of your TDS deductor or TCS collector ka registration. The next is 25(6)A, 6B, 6C, and 6D, which goes ahead and talks about Aadhaar authentication. Section number 25(6)A goes ahead and says a registered person shall undergo Aadhaar authentication, or he shall furnish proof of Aadhaar number, or he will be given alternate and viable means of identification. But that will happen. This is for existing registered person. Existing means already registered person who took registration, might be from 2000. I'll not say existing. I'll say already registered person who took registration from 2017 to 1st of April 2020. Before that only. If you have taken registration, then you would have taken registration without Aadhaar authentication. You will also have to do Aadhaar authentication, but from a date to be notified. Can I go ahead, everyone? Because Aadhaar authentication came from 1st April. Now, from 1st April, 6B goes ahead and says if you are an individual, and if you want registration, you shall undergo Aadhaar authentication or furnish proof of Aadhaar, or you will have given what, everyone, or you will be given alternate and viable means of identification. What is alternate and viable means of identification, everyone? Officer will come to your premises, do physical premises ka verification, take photographs, and then registration will be granted. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next is section number 25(6)(c), which goes ahead and tells about all other people who will be required to do Aadhaar authentication. And in this, they have gone ahead and notified that if you are a authorized signatory of all types, managing an authorized partner, and if you are the karta, then also you should undergo Aadhaar authentication. And this both ka case mein you guys have to undergo Aadhaar authentication from which date? 1st of April 2020. Whoever is taking registration from 1st of April 2020. The next one is section number 25(6)(d). 6A, 6B, 6C, and 6D is not applicable to such person or class of person or any state or union territory as may be notified, and government have gone ahead and issued a notification for whom Aadhaar authentication will not be required. So they are going ahead and telling person notified under section number 25(6)(d), that is 6A, 6B, 6C is not applicable to whom? New Delhi, PSU. And for non-Indian citizen, if you are not a citizen of India, or you are a department or establishment of central government, state government, or you are a local authority, or you are a public sector undertaking, or you are a statutory body, or you for UN holder, then in this scenario, for you guys, what is not applicable? Aadhaar authentication. So what did I tell you about Aadhaar authentication, everyone? I went ahead and told you section number 25. Section number 25, Aadhaar authentication, which is Aadhaar authentication ka section 6A, 6B, 6C, and 6D. Are we clear, everyone? 6A went ahead and told if you are already registered person, then you will have to do Aadhaar authentication, but from a date to be notified. 6B went ahead and told, and 6C went ahead and told about Aadhaar authentication will be required by whom? 6B and 6C went ahead and told individual, authorized signatory, managing an authorized partner, and karta will be required to undergo Aadhaar authentication with effect from 1st April 2020. I am the karta. I am the karta. Who are the people not required? New Delhi, PSU. Non-Indian citizen, Department of Central Government, State Government, Local Authority, Public Sector Undertaking, Statutory Body, and UN holder. These people are not required to do Aadhaar authentication. These people are not required at all. Can we go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is section number 25(7). Section number 25(7) says if you are a NRTP, non-resident taxable person, NRTP application always goes for registration in GST REC 09. Along with the application, they go ahead and give self-attested copy of the passport, and application should always be 5 days prior. Can I go ahead, everyone? 5 days prior to the commencement of business, they should file their application for registration. And NRTPs are compulsory required registration. Can I go ahead, everyone? NRTP making taxable supply is required compulsory registration. Advance tax to be deposited on the basis of temporary reference number. They will be given a temporary reference number and they have to deposit their tax in advance. Net estimated tax liability has to be deposited in advance, and after that only verification will happen and registration certificate will be granted. Remember one thing, because NRTP might run away, government is going ahead and telling NRTP, we will give you registration only if application made by NRTP shall be signed or e-verified by an authorized signatory who is a resident of India and having a valid PAN. Can we go ahead, everyone? Then we have section number 25(8), which goes ahead and talks about suo motu. Hey, you did not take registration, then officer can go ahead and register you. Suo motu, it says person failed to obtain registration. Proper officer may register him suo motu. Rule number 16 goes ahead and says, sir, if you fail to take registration and supposedly there is an investigation, survey, inquiry, etc. which happened, and proper officer finds out that you are liable but you have failed to obtain registration, then he will go ahead and register you by issuing a GST REC 12. Are we clear, everyone? Now temporarily he has gone ahead and registered you. Now you will have 90 days. Either 90 days may you can go for an appeal, or you can go online and give a formal application for registration. You will submit your registration application in rule number 8. Verification will happen, and rule number 10 may registration certificate will be granted. Remember one thing, when the registration certificate is granted, registration certificate will be valid from the day officer had given you the GST REC 12. Now sir, supposingly I filed an application, I filed an appeal against it. 90 days is the time limit to file an appeal. You went ahead and filed an appeal. then they are going ahead and telling if appellate authority sets aside the order of the proper officer, they tore the order and threw, then you don't have to take registration. But if appellate authority upholds the order, then Baba, you will have to go ahead and take registration within the order ka next 30 days. And then you have to go online. Rule number 8, application has to be given. Rule number 9, verification will happen. And rule number 10, registration certificate will be granted. Are we clear till here? And registration certificate will be always effective from the date of REG 12. Are we clear till here, everyone? Can we go ahead? The next one over here is section number 25.9, which goes ahead and talks about if you are a specialized agency of United Nations organization, or you are any multilateral financial institution, or you are an organization which is notified under the United Nations Act, or you are a consulate or embassy of a foreign country, or any notified class of person which is basically who is notified by the commissioner, those people shall be granted UIN number for the purpose including what, everyone? Refund of taxes on notified supplies of goods services received by them. So they will be given UN number. Baba, all these United Nations organization, consulate, embassies are given what, everyone? UIN number. UN number ke liye application is GST RT 13. And sir, post verification UL will be given to you within how many days? 3 days. And remember one thing, UIN which is given to you, UIN is always applicable to the territory of India. Means it is valid across India. Everyone over here, what did I tell you in section number 25? I went ahead and told you section number 25 May, section number 25 1. What did I tell you in section number 25 1, everyone? I went ahead and told if you become liable under section number 22 or 24, you should take registration within the next 30 days. CTP and NRTP 5 days prior. SEZ separate registration. TWI, you should take registration in the nearest coastal state. Sir, multiple place of business, you can go ahead and take multiple registration, multiple application, multiple verification, and multiple registration certificate will be granted. Section number 25.3, voluntary registration. If you want to be the Bakra, no one will stop you. You will be granted voluntary registration. Section number 25.4, everyone. Distinct person. Section number 25.5, everyone. Distinct person. Section number 25.6, everyone. PAN is mandatory. Baba, TDS deductor 10 also can be there. Rule number 12 is applicable over here. Can I go ahead, everyone? Seventh one went ahead. Okay. Now we have 6A, 6B, 6C. Okay. 6A, 6B, 6C, and 6D. Correct, everyone? Who are the people who are already registered person will be required to do Aadhaar authentication from a date to be notified. 6B and 6C went ahead and told about what, everyone? That I am the Karta. I am the Karta will be required Aadhaar authentication. I for individual, authorized signatory of all types, managing and authorized partner, and Karta. And 6D, everyone. 6D went ahead and told New Delhi PSU is not required Aadhaar authentication. 7 went ahead and told about NRTP. 8 went ahead and told about Suo Moto registration. Right, everyone? And 9th one went ahead and told about the UIN. 10, 11, 12 which is there is total bakwas. Everyone over here. Section number 25.1 went ahead and told you should take registration within 30 days. TWI may nearest coastal state, SEZ separate registration. But sir, how to take registration? How to take registration is told by rule number 8, which goes ahead and gives application. Rule number 9, everyone, goes ahead and talks about verification, and rule number 10 goes ahead and talks about grant of registration certificate. Now let's do rule number 8, rule number 9, and rule number 10. Please come to a chart, everyone. Over here, everyone. Now, whenever a person becomes liable, so if there is any person and this person becomes liable, then I went ahead and told you in section number 25 that whenever you become liable, you should go ahead and apply within 30 days. Sir, I did not say. Section number 25.1 says that you should go ahead and apply within 30 days. CTP and RTP 5 days prior. SEZ separate registration. TWI people nearest coastal state. Now, when they go ahead and apply, rule number 8 comes, which goes ahead and talks about application. Rule number 9 goes ahead and says your application will be forwarded for verification, and then rule number 10 may your registration certificate will be issued. Everyone over here. Rule number 8, which we go ahead and talk about. Rule number 8, sir, why did you mark green? Rule number 8 and 9, because it's an amendment. Where is an amendment? I will talk about it. It says every person who becomes liable for registration under section number 25 other than NTO. NTO means N means NRTP. NRTP ke liye application is rule number 8 is not applicable. Rule number 8 is not applicable for NTO. N means NRTP. For them, rule number 13 is applicable. They have to apply in GST RC 09. TDS deductor, TCS collector के लिए rule number 12 is applicable. They have to apply in GST RC 07. Sir, OIDR के लिए rule number 14 is applicable and they have to apply in RC 06. So other than NTO, whoever is going in and applying for registration under section number 25, they have to go ahead and one form is there which is GST RDC 01. In GST RDC 01, they have to fill part A. Baba, when you fill part A, you have to go ahead and give your PAN number, which will validate it from the CBDT database. And now everyone listen to me very carefully. Earlier, when you are filling part A, in part A, you have to go ahead and give mobile number and email ID, which will be verified through OTP. But now they are telling, now they will not go ahead and ask you mobile number and email ID in the part A. They are telling whichever mobile number and email ID you had given when you are taking PAN number, or might be basically when you had applied for PAN, whatever mobile number or email ID you had given, they are telling, or might be you updated it when you are filing income tax return, whatever the updated mobile number and email ID is there, which is basically connected to your PAN, on that they will go ahead and send what OTP to the mobile number and email ID which is linked to the PAN. That is the amendment over here. They are telling OTP will be sent, PAN will be validated through CBDT database, and we will go ahead and verify. We'll also go ahead and verify through what, everyone? OTP, which is sent to the mobile number and email address linked to the PAN. Can we go ahead, everyone? Now, so PAN will be verified, and they will also go ahead and send one mobile number and email address mein OTP, which is basically the mobile number and email address linked to your PAN. Now they are going ahead and telling, now you go ahead and mention your state or union territory in the part A, and post verification one temporary reference number will be generated. Now you can use your TRN number, start filling the part B which is there. In the part B, they are going ahead and telling, when you submit part B, part B should be submitted along with e-verification with the document, signed or e-verified with document. And they're telling, now if you go ahead and fill your part B, in the part B you will get an option to do Aadhaar authentication. If you go ahead and say a yes to Aadhaar authentication, then that date of submission of the application, the date of submission of the application will be the day you actually go online and do the Aadhaar authentication. Basically, when you say yes to Aadhaar authentication and submit your part B, one link comes on your mobile number, not on mobile number, email address, one link will come. That link pay, when you click, you have to put your Aadhaar number, then put the OTP which is linked to the Aadhaar, and Baba, your Aadhaar gets verified. Now, what they are telling is the day you do the Aadhaar authentication, that will be the date of submission of part B, or sir, 15 days from the submission of part B. The day you submit part B, from that day, 15 days. After that, basically, once 15 days gets over, the officer will pick it up for verification. So either you do the Aadhaar authentication, the day you do the Aadhaar authentication, or 15 days from the submission of part B. So if you have gone ahead and filled your submitted your part B on 1st of January, then they are telling 15 days will be given to you. 10 January, if you do the Aadhaar authentication, 10 January will be the date of submission. If you don't do on 10 January, 15 days will get over. They are telling 16th of January, the officer will pick up your application for verification. Are we clear? And one acknowledgement will be given in GST RC 02. And here one note is there, CTP will be given temporary reference number for depositing of tax, and acknowledgement will be given only once they deposit the net tax liability in advance. And always remember one thing, everyone, if you have gone ahead and told, I don't want to do Aadhaar authentication, means from your point of view, your application is complete. So the date of submission will be the actual date of submission of part B. Now, everyone, one small point has come over here. One amendment has come in rule number 8, which says a star. Can you see on the right hand side? Now, if you are a person who has opted for Aadhaar authentication, but now what they are going ahead and telling, portal will go ahead and identify risky people. Portal will identify risky people. So it says, and you are being identified by the portal based on what? Data analysis and risk parameter. Then it shall be followed. Means now what will happen? If supposedly you went online and you have to opted for Aadhaar authentication, you have gone ahead and opted for Aadhaar authentication. They are going ahead and telling now, when you go online and opt for Aadhaar authentication also, still if the portal identifies you on the basis of risk parameters, then they will go ahead and tell you it shall be followed by what, everyone? Biometric based Aadhaar authentication, means that you will be called to one of the facilitation center where you have to go give your biometric and also taking photograph plus the verification of the original document which you had uploaded along with the application. That original document will be verified at one of the facilitation center which is being notified, and the application will be deemed to be submitted. Means your application will be deemed to be submitted, not after Aadhaar authentication. They will still wait for you. You have to go do your biometric, they will take your photograph, and you have to show original document. Only then your application will be deemed to be submitted. It says application shall be deemed to be complete after completion of the process. And rule, as of now, this rule has only been made applicable in the state of Gujarat. Are we clear, everyone? Everyone over here now. Now, sir, once my application, if I was identified by the, if I'm not identified by the portal, then Baba, the date of submission I've already told you. But star I have put that if you by chance are identified by the portal, Aadhaar authentication you have opted also. But if you're still identified by the portal, did Aadhaar authentication, but still what they are telling over here, they are telling we will go ahead and take your biometric at a facilitation center. You have to go to give your biometric, photograph, and original document has to be shown. Only then your application will be deemed to be submitted, and then the further process will happen. And they are telling once rule number 8 May you have gone ahead and submitted the application is forwarded to the officer. Officer starts checking. So what they are going ahead and telling rule number 9 May, examination of the application and accompanying document will happen. Sir, first stage you went ahead and told if the application is on order. Sir, two things are there, application and Aadhaar authentication. Application is in order, but person is notified under section number 25(6)(d), New Delhi, PSU. If you are that person, non-Indian citizen, Department of Central Government, State Government, local authority, public sector undertaking, statutory body, or you are an holder, then these people are not required to do Aadhaar authentication. So they are telling if your application is fine, we will go ahead and within 7 working days of the date of submission, we'll approve the grant of registration and we'll give you the registration certificate. Registration certificate, remember one thing for everyone, the GST registration certificate is what? GST REG 06. It will show the principal place and additional place of business and it shall be made available on the portal, plus one GSTN number of 15 digits will also be assigned to you. Sir, supposingly I am a person, application is in order, and I am a person who is required Aadhaar authentication. I have opted also, while filling part B, I have opted also for Aadhaar authentication, and Aadhaar authentication is successful also. Then they are telling, very good, application is fine, Aadhaar is also fine. Within 7 working days, we'll approve the registration and we'll grant you the registration certificate. Sir, I went ahead and application is in order, Aadhaar authentication required, opted also, but failed, sir. Aadhaar authentication required, did not opt only. Are we clear, everyone? Or, sir, applicant is required Aadhaar authentication, opted also, Aadhaar authentication became successful also, but sir, portal has identified me. Application to went. While verification was happening, portal identified me during the process of verification. So if a person is undergone Aadhaar authentication but is identified by the portal on the basis of data analysis and risk parameter for carrying out physical verification, okay, everyone, either portal identified you or even after Aadhaar authentication was successful, proper officer identified you as a risky person. Proper officer will go ahead and do what, everyone? He will go ahead and with the approval of the officer authorized. Who is the officer authorized, everyone? Greater than equal to assistant commissioner. He will take assistant commissioner ka permission, and because proper officer deems it fit to carry out what, everyone? Physical verification of place of business. Now, in all these scenarios, sir, application is in order. Applicant required Aadhaar authentication, failed Aadhaar authentication. Required Aadhaar authentication, did not opt Aadhaar authentication. Aadhaar authentication done, but still portal identified you or officer has identified you. Then they are going ahead and telling, then sir, this is the amendment, everyone. Portal can also identify you based on risk analysis for physical verification. Then first, they will do physical verification of your place of business and other document ka verification will be done as the proper officer deems fit. Sir, once they have gone ahead and done, within 30 days of the submission of application, your application will be processed basically and approval of registration will be done and registration certificate will be issued. Are we all clear till here, everyone? Tell me one thing, everyone. Application is an order. Aadhaar authentication not required. 7 working days. Application is an order. Aadhaar authentication required. Done also. No problem at all. 7 working days. Application, Aadhaar authentication required. Failed Aadhaar authentication. Sorry, application is fine. Aadhaar authentication failed. Did not opt only. Opt but failed. Did not opt only. Portal identified you or officer identified you. Officer will identify, then he will take assistant commissioner ka permission. After all this scenario, they are going ahead and telling if all these scenarios are there, first they will come for physical verification of place of business. Because they will come, they will take some time. So now the time limit will be 30 days. Everyone over here, sir, application mein there is a problem. Now what we are speaking, application mein there is a problem. Aadhaar authentication required, opted, and Aadhaar authentication was successful also. Aadhaar authentication is fine. Application mein there is a problem, then they will give you a notice in GST REG 03 within 7 working days. Within 7 working days, either approval is given or they will give you a notice in GST REG 03, and applicant has to give CID, clarification information and document within the next 7 working days. In which form, everyone? GST REG 04. Officer likes it Within the next 7 days, he will approve and grant you the registration certificate. Officer does not like it, officer is not satisfied, or no reply within 7 working days, then they are going ahead and telling either you replied, he did not like it, or you did not reply only. Then proper officer may record the reason and he will reject your application and inform you on GST RC 05. Are we clear till here? Can I go ahead? The next one over here, everyone. Sir, application was found. People, application also problem. Aadhaar authentication did not opt only. Required did not opt. Opted but failed. Portal identified you or officer identified you for physical verification. So beta, application also problem. And here also there is a problem. What they are telling? Application is a deficit. Aadhaar authentication required, you did not opt. Aadhaar authentication failed, or portal identified you. This is the amendment part. Based on these parameters, portal identified that physical verification should be done of place of business, or proper officer identified you for physical verification. Then first they will carry out physical verification, and they will when they come, they will check other documents also if they want. And then, sir, one notice will be given. Now this notice ka time limit will be how many days, everyone? Within 30 days from the date of submission. You have to reply within 7 working days. He likes it, he will approve. He does not like it, or you did not reply within 7 working days, they will go ahead and do what? Record the reason and reject the application. And Baba, that's it. He will inform you in GSTRC 05. Are we clear, everyone? Always remember one thing, application ka time limit. Sir, everything is fine, 7 working days may should approve. If everything is not fine, within 30 days, basically it should come for physical verification. Correct or not, everyone? Sir, I replied he should take more how many days? 7 working days. Baba, if officer fails to take action within 7 days of successful submission of successful Aadhaar authentication, or 30 days from the date of submission in case of failure or not opting for Aadhaar authentication, or where physical verification is required, or beta, one more point which they have not written in the law, but sir, portal identified you, then they are going ahead and telling, or 7 days from the date of receipt of clarification information document, if officer does not take any action, auto approvals are given. Basically, application will be deemed to be approved, and GSTN number and registration certificate signed or e-verified to be made available within the next 3 days after the expiry of this 7 working days, 30 days, or 7 working days. Are we clear, everyone? Can I go ahead, everyone? Remember one thing, once you get your registration certificate, always remember, put your registration certificate on the prominent location at your place of business or additional place of business, and also put your GSTN number on your head. Head means shop ka head, Baba. Your shop ka notice board which is there, on that name board which is there, you should put your GSTN number. Rule number 18 says display registration certificate at the prominent location of your additional place or principal place of business, and also GSTIN number on the name board exhibited at the entry of the place of business or additional place of business. You should put your GSTN number. Everyone listen to me very carefully. Once you are given a registration, you become a registered person. When you became liable, you were a taxable person. When you are granted registration, now you are a taxable person also, and you are a registered person. Remember one thing, registered person, once he is granted registration, he should go online and he should put his bank account details. Rule number 10A comes. Rule number 10A comes, which goes ahead and says, sir, furnish your bank account detail within how many days? Due date of monthly return, or 45 days from the grant of registration certificate. From the registration certificate, first monthly return, or 45 days from your registration certificate, whichever is earlier, you should furnish your bank account details. Sir, I will not furnish, then Baba, PO may cancel your registration. Remember this. Can I go ahead, everyone? Now, when you read rule number 10 may one small point is over here. Sir, what is this point talking about? Sir, whenever you become liable, please go ahead and submit your application within how many days? 30 days. If you go ahead and submit your application within 30 days, sir, I became liable over here. Within 30 days, I submitted. Registration certificate granted. Registration certificate will be valid from the date of becoming liable. Remember, registration certificate will be valid from the date of becoming liable. Sir, I became liable over here. Within 30 days, I did not submit. I submitted after 30 days. Registration certificate granted. Registration certificate will be valid from the date it is granted, and hence it will not be made retrospectively effective. Are we clear, everyone? It will be effective from the date of grant. People remember one thing, I became liable, I applied within 30 days, and registration certificate granted. Registration certificate made valid till from the date of becoming liable. So from the date of becoming liable till the date of grant of registration certificate, whatever supplies I have done, can I issue revised tax invoice within the next 1 month from the date of grant of registration certificate? Sir, I became liable over here. I should have applied within 30 days. Did not apply. I applied after 30 days. Registration certificate granted. It is valid from the date of grant. And hence, in this scenario, from the date of becoming liable till the grant of registration certificate, whatever supplies you have done, you have to pay GST from your own pocket. You can't go ahead and issue revised tax invoice and you can't collect it from your customer. Is my point clear to all? Can we go ahead? Chalo. Now, when you come down over here, you have rule number 10B. Baba, rule number 10B goes ahead and says, supposingly, rule number 10B goes ahead and says, sir, you had already taken your registration, might be before 1/4/2020. From 2017 to 2020, 1st of April 2020, Aadhaar authentication was not there. You are a person, now you are required Aadhaar authentication. But that time when you took registration, you are not required Aadhaar authentication. So you have taken registration, or might be now you have taken registration without Aadhaar authentication. How, sir? Physical verification of place of business, I got it done and I took registration. Government is telling, okay, I can't mandate Aadhaar for you, but for some things, if you don't go ahead and do Aadhaar authentication, we will not go ahead and accept those applications. Like, the government went ahead and told a registered person other than 25/6D. 25/6D means, Baba, New Delhi PSU. Other than that, who is required Aadhaar authentication? Who is required, everyone? IAMK, individual, authorized signatory of all type, managing and authorized partner, and Karta. Basically, the people who are required, who are not required, you leave them. Other than that, who are required Aadhaar authentication, they will be issued a registered who has been issued a registration certificate, who are already issued without undergoing Aadhaar authentication. Aadhaar authentication, they shall undergo Aadhaar authentication of proprietor, partner, Karta, managing director, any whole-time director in case of company, members of managing committee of association of person or body of individual or society, or trustee or board of trustees in case of trust, and Baba, proprietor and of the authorized signatory, partner and of the authorized signatory. So you should go ahead and undergo Aadhaar authentication. Are we clear, everyone? So people, one of the proprietor and one of the authorized signatory. Can I go ahead, everyone? Sir, partner and authorized signatory, which is there. People, remember, they are telling proprietor and authorized signatory, partner and authorized signatories who are there. Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. And it says you have to do Aadhaar authentication for what? For this purpose. Means already registered person under section number 25(6)(a) also, and to undergo what? Aadhaar authentication if they want to enjoy these things. Sir, what? Number one, filing revocation application GSTRG 21. Filing what? Refund application under rule number 89, and for filing refund application under rule number 96, you have to do Aadhaar authentication. Otherwise, you can continue your business. But revocation application and refund application, you will not be able to. But sir, I don't have Aadhaar. I want to go online and apply. People, government says if no Aadhaar, furnish Aadhaar enrollment ID slip. Go apply. Aadhaar enrollment slip along with that bank passbook with photo, voter ID or passport or driving license you attach, and we will take your application. But proviso says such person shall undergo Aadhaar authentication within a period of 1 month of what, everyone? Within a period of not 1 month, within a period of 30 days of the allotment of Aadhaar number. People, rule number 10B says you have to undergo Aadhaar authentication even if you are already registered person, or might be you are granted registration by doing physical premises ka verification. You should other than people who are under 25(6)D should undergo Aadhaar authentication if they want to apply for revocation and refund application. Sir, I don't have Aadhaar, then apply for Aadhaar enrollment ID slip along with that bank passbook, voter ID, etc. You can go ahead and voter ID, passport, any document you can go ahead and give, and your application will be taken. But once you are given Aadhaar number, within the next how many days, everyone? 30 days, you should go online and do your Aadhaar authentication. The next one over here is rule number 25. Rule number 25 goes ahead and says proper officer has the power to get physical verification. Who told? Rule number 25 allowed him. Proper officer may get physical premises of the place of business done before granting or after grant also. And Baba, when they come for a physical premises of verification, they will upload verification report along with other document, including photograph. They will come to your place of business. They will take some document from you. They'll take photograph. They'll upload in GSTREG 30 within how many days? 15 days. 15 working days. Can I go ahead, everyone? Sir, can verification be done before grant? Yes, because you failed Aadhaar authentication or you did not opt for Aadhaar authentication. Additional point now. Physical verification can be done if portal identifies you or officer identifies you. Correct or not, everyone? Then verification can be done after grant also for any other reason. Might be you are doing something wrong, an officer gets a doubt, then they can come for physical premises ka verification. I told you over here, section number 25(1). People, section number 25(1). 30 days में you should apply for registration. Section number 25 1 what everyone? 30 days में you should apply for registration. CDP and RTP 5 days prior. SEZ separate registration. TWI nearest coastal. How will you apply? Rule number 8. Rule number 9 verification. Rule number 10 registration certificate will be granted. 10A bank account details should be furnished. 10B Aadhaar authentication for 3 special purpose. Refund, revocation, refund under rule number 89 and refund under 96. Can I go ahead, everyone? And then I told you about physical premises ka verification, rule number 25. I told you about rule number 18, hang your GSTN number, correct, GST certificate, and put your GSTN number on the notice name board, which is there outside your shop. Correct, everyone? And that's it, everyone. We have gone ahead and done with section number 25.1. Read with rule number 8, 9, 10, 10A, 10B, rule number 25, and rule number 18. Now, everyone over here, I went ahead and told you section number 25.2 also. People, what is section number 25.2? Multiple place of business, multiple registrations can be taken. Section number 25.3, Bakra, voluntary registration. Section number 25.4 and 5, distinct person. 6, PAN is mandatory. TDS deductor can use 10. Right, everyone? 7 was NRTP. 6A, already registered person. 6B and 6C, IAMK has to do Aadhaar authentication. 6D, New Delhi PSU, not required Aadhaar authentication. 7th one, everyone. NRTP, 8th one, suo motor registration, 9th one, UIN holder. Right, everyone? Now, over here, you have a small point. Section number 26 talks about deemed registration. Registration certificate or UIN granted or rejected under SGST or UTGST Act. Baba, deemed, granted or rejected under the SGST Act also. Now, the next section over here is section number 27. Everyone over here, section number 22 told about person who are liable. 23 told about person who are not liable. 24 told about compulsory registration. 25 procedure. 26 told about deemed registration. 27 now talks about special provision with respect to CTP and NRTP. If you are a casual taxable person or an NRTP, when you are going to commence your business, 5 days prior you should go ahead and apply for registration. CTP applies in GST REC 01 and NRTP applies in REC 09 along with a self-attested copy of passport. And sir, when they are going ahead and applying for registration, they should always go ahead and pay what? Net estimated tax liability in advance, and that will be credited to the e-cash ledger. And now, whenever they make a supply for every month when they are filing a return, they can use from the e-cash ledger. Remember one thing, when they go ahead and put the amount, once they go ahead and deposit the advance tax liability, basically net estimated tax liability in advance, then Baba, verification will be done by the proper officer and registration certificate will be granted. Can I go ahead? Now, what happens over here? Once they are granted the registration certificate, only then they should go ahead and start making taxable supply. Remember one thing, registration certificate granted to them is for a period specified or it is 90 days, whichever is earlier. Now, sir, once they go ahead and start their business, supposing they have been granted registration for 90 days, and sir, the period or whatever period they have been granted, the period is going to expire, then sir, they can go ahead and ask for extension. Extension should always be before the original expires. Rule number 15 is applicable, which goes ahead and says that you can apply for extension in GST RC 11. Along with that, because you want extension, extended period ke liye, additional net estimated tax liability has to be given. Can I go ahead, everyone, in advance? And sir, remember one thing, you can be a casual taxable person in a state for 90 days plus maximum 90 days means 180 days ke period. You can't be casual in a state. So sir, supposingly one circular came and people went in and asked, sir, supposingly 180 days got over and after that I want casual taxable person ka extension. Government says extension is not possible. Might be your exhibition got extended and you want extension. Extension is not possible in this scenario. Further beyond 180 days, you can take normal registration. Now, no advance tax has to be paid. Whatever you want, whenever you supply, you go ahead and pay the GST. Every month you go ahead and file your return, pay the GST. And sir, when you leave the state and go, just surrender your registration when the exhibition is over. The next one over here is section number 28, which goes ahead and talks about amendment. Everyone listen to me very carefully. Amendment can be core field amendment. Amendment can be non-core field amendment, which is other amendment other than core field. And amendment can be because of change in constitution, which is resulting in PAN change. Remember one thing, if there is a change in constitution of business, remember one thing, whenever there is a change in constitution of business, PAN has changed. PAN change you can't do amendment of registration. New registration has to be taken. Old registration cancel and apply for a fresh registration. Sir, if there is non-core field ka changes, non-core field, sir, authorized signatory you want to change it, all those field ka changes may they are telling, sir, there is no approval of the proper officer which is required. Might be okay. I'll go ahead and give you a simpler thing. Might be supposing you have to put your bank account detail differently, you have to change your bank account detail, etc. Then they are going ahead and telling other changes ke liye non-core field mein they are telling just apply in RG14 and Baba upon submission registration certificate will get amended. Sir, if there is a core field amendment means there are three things which are known as core field amendment. You can please remember this for your exam purpose. Be graded, but still remember. Non-core field means legal name of your business has changed. Sir, addition deletion has happened in the principal place or additional place of business, PPOB or APOB, principal place of business or additional place of business, addition, deletion, retirement of partner, director, karta, managing committee, board of trustees or CEO who are basically responsible for day-to-day business affairs, day-to-day affairs of the business and which do not need cancellation. You can go online and apply for what everyone? Amendment. Can I go ahead, everyone? So whenever these three field amendments are there, they are telling whenever there is a change in the registration ka particulars which you are furnished at the time of taking registration or UIN with there is a change, please, whenever this kind of amendments happen, you have to go ahead and apply within how many days, everyone? 15 days you should go ahead and apply. Application will go in GSTRG 14. Along with that, you should always go ahead and give supporting document. Then, sir, verification of the officer will be done. Once the officer verifies, if the officer is of the opinion that amendment is warranted, documents are complete and correct, then Baba, within the next 15 working days, he will go ahead and approve and issue you a GSTREG 15 that your amendment has been done. The next, sir, if amendment is not warranted, not documents are not complete, documents are incomplete or incorrect, then officer will go ahead and give you a love letter. He will go ahead and send you a show cause notice in GST-RG03 within how many days? 15 working days to show cause within the next 7 days why your application should not be rejected. You entered and replied him in GSTRG04 and reply was satisfactory. Then he will go ahead and approve the amendment and issue an order in GSTRG 15. But sir, if reply is not satisfactory or you did not reply at all, then Baba, he will get angry and he will reject the application and pass an order in GSTRG 05. Remember, to approve or amend, reject, he will take 7 working days. Everyone over here, we went ahead and learned section number 22, 23, 24, 25 procedure, 26 deemed registration, 27 CTP, NRTP, 28 everyone. 28 amendment. Now the next section which comes is section number 29. Section number 29 ke baad we will be going ahead and learning about suspension. Section number 29 goes ahead and says cancellation or suspension of registration. Read with rule number 20, 21, 21A, 22 and rule number 44. It says section number 29 has section number 29 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Section number 29 1 goes ahead and says when your registration can be cancelled. Section number 29 1 says proper officer may suo moto, or if you give an application or supposing one person dies, then legal hire will go ahead and give an application and that time your registration can be cancelled. Where? So it says proper officer can cancel your registration suo moto, or one person can apply, or if one person has died, legal hire can go ahead and apply when business is discontinued or transferred fully because of death, disposed of, or demerger or amalgamation. Secondly, there is a change in constitution, proprietorship became partnership. So, Baba, your old registration has to be cancelled by you. Sir, this taxable person he says, I am no longer liable, sir. I am no longer liable under 22 or 24 to remain registered. Then you can go ahead and apply for cancellation. Or you intend to opt out. You became voluntary bakra under section number 25(3). You took registration and now you are telling, sir, I don't want registration. Then you can go ahead and apply for cancellation. So these are the three scenarios when proper officer can cancel your registration suo moto, or one person can apply. If he has died, might be legal hire can go ahead and apply. Section number 29(2) being the most important part, which goes ahead and says what are the scenarios when proper officer can go ahead and cancel your registration. Remember, proper officer may cancel your registration where there are 5 scenarios: A, B, C, D, E. Are we clear, everyone? It says over here, when the registered person has contravened such provision means as per rule number 21. If you have gone ahead and done what, everyone? Contravene such provision of the act or rules, then they are going ahead and telling your registration will be cancelled. What are the such provision, everyone? Number 1, Rule number 21 says you are not doing business from the declared place of business, or you are issuing an invoice or bill of supply without supplying goods services in violation of act or rules. Bogus invoice you are issuing, then, or you are violating the provision of section number 171 of the act or rules made thereunder. Matlab you are doing profiteering. If you are doing profiteering, then in that scenario also your registration can be cancelled. The next is, after you have got registration, you did not furnish your bank account detail. Bank account details should be furnished within 45 days or your first monthly return, whichever is earlier. If you don't go ahead and furnish, then they can go ahead and cancel your registration. Sir, you availed the ITC in violation of section number 16 of the act or rules made thereunder, then they are going ahead and telling, if you don't follow section number 16 or rule number 36, etc. is there in section number 16. Now they are going ahead and telling, if you don't go ahead and follow the act or rules, section number 16 means you are going ahead and taking ITC in violation of section number 16 of the act or rules, then they are going ahead and telling your registration can be cancelled. The next is, you furnish the details in your outward supply in GSTR1. Supposedly in GSTR1 you showed 1 crore rupees, 18 lakh rupees ka credit you passed on, but when you have to go ahead and file your GSTR3B, in GSTR3B you showed less amount of supply and less tax you paid, then they are telling, if you furnish details in outward supply in GSTR1 greater than outward supply declared in valid return under section number 39, means your GSTR3B may you are showing less sale and you are paying less taxes. It means you have passed on extra credit to your customers. They are telling your registration can be cancelled. The next is, if you violate the provision of rule number 86B, which is in your payment of taxes chapter, where we'll be going in and learning that 1% at least of your liability you should pay in cash. That is spoken in, you can't use 100% credit. That is told in rule number 86B. They say 1% has to be paid in cash through your e-cash ledger. That is told by rule number 86B. If you don't follow the provision of rule number 86B, then also your registration can be cancelled. Sir, I have gone ahead and taken normal registration. It says, being a person required to file return under section number 39(1) for each month, you have to file return for every month, and you have not filed your return for a continuous period of how much? 6 months, then your registration can be cancelled. Or you are a person who is other than section number 39, who is required to file, sorry, if you are required to file return under section number 39(1) for each quarter, you have opted for what return, everyone? Quarterly return, and your GSTR3B, you have to file for every quarter. If you don't go ahead and file for 2 quarters, your registration can be cancelled. 2 tax period ke liye, 2 continuous tax period means 2 quarter ke liye you have not filed, then your registration can be cancelled. The next one over here is section number 29(2)B, which goes ahead and says, if you are a composition dealer, for composition dealer, the date to go ahead and file their GSTR4 is 30th of April. Once the year gets over, by 30th April. From 30th April, if you don't file your return within next 3 months, they are telling composition supplier has not furnished return for a financial year beyond what date, everyone? 3 months from the due date of furnishing the said return. 3 months have already gone by, and your 30th April ke baad, the due date was, for an example, 30th April or extended, then extended due date say within 3 months, if you don't go ahead and file your composition dealer ka GSTR4 ka return, they are going in and telling your registration will be cancelled. Sir, registered person other than Compo has not filed continuous tax period ke liye as may be prescribed. Sir, what is prescribed, everyone? Normal person GSTR3B for 6 months, or if he is under quarterly return, then 2 quarter. If you don't go ahead and file your return, your registration can be cancelled. The next one over here is, if you are a voluntary registered person and you have not commenced your business within how much time, everyone? 6 months, then they are going ahead and telling, basically you are filing nil return. Voluntary registration you have taken, then they are telling, if you don't commence your business within 6 months, we will cancel your registration. Then the last point over here, if your registration was taken by fraud, willful misstatement or suppression of fact, then also your registration can be cancelled. Everyone over here now, remember one thing. Number one, if you contravene such provision of the act or rules, composition dealer ke liye return ke after the return ka due date is over, 3 months you have not filed your return, then registration can be cancelled. Normal person, 6 months or 2 quarter. 6 months or 2 quarter, if you have not filed continuously your GSTR3B, basically or monthly return, whichever is there, or quarterly return, then bye registration can be cancelled. Fourth one thing, voluntary registered person has not commenced business for 6 months, then his registration can be cancelled. And the last one, everyone, if you have taken by the registration by fraud, willful misstatement or suppression of fact, then your registration can be cancelled. Sir, my registration is cancelled. Section number 29(2), 29(1) May or 29(2) May, if your registration cancelled, sir, aram se whatever money I have taken, I will not give. Government is telling, beta, even if your registration is cancelled, you are still liable to go ahead and pay the dues which is there. Cancellation not to affect the liability to pay tax and dues. Dues means whatever interest, penalty, late fee or any other amount you have to pay. They are telling whether or not determined before or after cancellation. Might be before cancellation, they would have given you a demand order, or might be after cancellation, they give you a demand order. Whatever it is, you are still liable to pay the dues because that time you were when you were registered. That time, if any dues etc. are there, they will go ahead and collect. Can I go ahead, everyone? Sir, section number 29(4) goes ahead and says cancellation under SGST Act deemed cancel under CGST Act. The next one is section number 29(5) read with rule number 44, which goes ahead and says once your registration is cancelled, you will be liable to pay the tax on cancellation. Whatever inputs are there, you will take it home. Capital goods, you will take it home. So you will be liable to pay the GST. They're telling inputs in stock, semi-finished goods and finished goods, you have to go ahead and pay whatever the ITC calculated proportionately on the basis of tax invoices. Means those goods which you are taking home, of those goods, you take out the invoice, whatever GST you had paid. Are we clear, everyone? Whatever GST you had paid, you would have taken the ITC, or if you would have sold them, what is the output tax payable? Whichever is higher, the output tax payable, whichever is higher, you have to go ahead and pay on your inputs. Inputs which are in your stock, inputs which are in your semi-finished goods and finished goods. Sir, capital goods and plant and machinery, they are going ahead and telling whatever the ITC you have taken, you have to reduce it. You have to reduce it little, and then that remaining ITC you have to pay. Or if you sell the capital goods, what is the GST payable? Whichever is higher. So it says ITC for the remaining life, whatever the remaining life is there, that basically is calculated taking 60 months. This you understand in your ITC chapter, right, everyone? That, sir, ITC for the remaining life or tax payable on transaction value, whichever is higher, you have to go ahead and pay on capital goods and plant and machinery. Everyone, listen to me very carefully. Now, sir, what is the process of cancellation? For an example, one event has happened, registered person. Once the event happens, you have to go ahead and seek for cancellation within how many days, everyone? 30 days. When you go ahead and seek for cancellation, you have to apply in GSTRG 16, including Baba, this is an application for cancellation. It's including the details of your input in your stock, semi-finished goods, finished goods, and the capital goods ka detail, capital goods and plant and machinery ka detail. Which is on the date from which cancellation is sought. The day you are asking for cancellation, on that day, your stock ka position and your capital goods and plant and machinery ka position. Along with that, whatever is your liability plus the payment detail and the supporting document you have to give. Officer will start the cancellation proceeding. And once the cancellation proceedings are over, they will give you a cancellation order after giving opportunity of being heard. And Baba, the cancellation order comes in GSTRG 19. And once the cancellation order comes, Baba, within the next 3 months, if you have any dues which are there, please go ahead and pay them and file one bye-bye return, which is your final return GSTR 10. And Baba, in your cancellation order, basically you are directed by the proper officer that you have to go ahead and pay whatever tax, interest, penalty, and sir, amount payable as per section number 29(5), which is inputs pay tax, or plant and machinery pay whatever tax is told in section number 29(5), you have to go ahead and pay that. Are we clear, everyone? Sir, if I had already paid, then again you don't have to pay. If you had already paid while filing GSTRG 16, then you don't have to pay again. The next one over here is, sir, if the cancellation is done by the proper officer, then always remember proper officer will go ahead and issue you a show cause notice. You have to go ahead and reply to the show cause notice. If he likes your reply, then no problem. But if it does not, so if you reply in GSTRG 18, if reply is satisfactory, or instead of replying, you told, let me go ahead, he's going to cancel my registration because I have not filed my return. Let me file the return, pay all the tax, interest, late fee, whatever is there. So people, furnish your return, pay all that dues which is there. Then also proceedings will be dropped, and GSTRG 20 may he'll say, okay, I've dropped the proceeding. But sir, when you go ahead and reply, and he does not file your reply satisfactory, then he will decide a date and he will start the cancellation proceedings. Remember one thing, cancellation proceedings he will finish within 30 days, and he will give you a cancellation order, and he'll direct you whatever is your liability to be paid and the amount to be paid as per section number 29(5). Within the next 3 months, please go ahead, file your bye-bye return after making all the dues ka payments. Remember one thing, everyone, whenever your registration is cancelled, cancellation proceedings will be going on. That time your registration is suspended, and that suspension ka talk is being done by rule number 21A, suspension of registration. What does rule number 21A says? Rule number 21A goes ahead and says, if you are a registered person, you have applied for cancellation, pending the cancellation, registration will be suspended from the date you submit or from the date you are asking for registration cancellation, whichever is later. You asked on this date, you applied on this date, but you are asking cancellation from this date. So, sir, from this date, when the cancellation proceedings will start, your registration will be suspended from the date of submission or from the date when cancellation is sought from which cancellation is sought, whichever is later. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is a proper officer has reason to believe. Now, this was when you applied. But if proper officer has reason to believe that he wants to cancel your registration, first he will give you a show cause notice, you will reply, and then he will decide a date from which cancellation proceedings will start. The day he decides, from that day your registration will be suspended. It says the proper officer has R to be reason to believe that registration is liable to be cancelled, then he may suspend the registration with effect from a date to be determined by him, pending the completion of the cancellation proceeding. The next one over here is third case, where basically first one is you applied, second one proper officer went ahead and suspended, the third is an suspension because you would not have because might be your GSTR1, GSTR3B may etc. may anomalies are being noticed. It says where a comparison of the return furnished by the registered person, basically your GSTR3B, which is furnished under section number 39, they are telling it was compared with the outward supply detail which are furnished in GSTR1. Your GSTR3B and GSTR1, when we compare, there are huge differences. Here you showed 1 crore rupees ka sale, here you are showing 1 lakh rupees ka sale. There are anomalies which are there. Or your GSTR 3B, we compared with your details of inward supply derived on the basis of supplier GSTR 1. Your GSTR 3B and GSTR 2B we compared, which is basically on supplier ka GSTR 1, your GSTR 2B got created. We are comparing that, and or such other analysis carried on the recommendation of council shows that there are significant differences or anomalies, and it indicates that you have done some contravention of the act or rules which is leading to cancellation of registration. Then Baba, you know what, your registration will be suspended and you will be informed in GSTRG 31 on the common portal or by email highlighting the difference as and anomalies. Now beta, you have to go ahead and reply within 30 days as to why your registration should not be cancelled. Are we clear, everyone? I told you over here. Remember, what are the three scenarios when registration can be suspended? You entered and applied from the date of application. No, from the day you go ahead and apply, and from the date you are seeking cancellation, whichever is later, say your registration will be suspended. If proper officer is reason to believe, then in that scenario, proper officer will decide a date when the cancellation proceeding basically starts. From that day, he'll suspend your registration. Third one, your GSTR3B, GSTR1, GSTR3B, GSTR2B or such other comparison indicates that there are some anomalies. Then Baba, portal will go ahead and suspend your registration. Basically, your registration will be suspended and they will send you a notice basically in GSTR-RG 31 that, sir, registration has been suspended. You will be given 30 days to show cause why your registration should not be cancelled. Always remember one thing, if your registration is suspended under 1, 2 or 2A, you should not go ahead and furnish any return also, and you don't have to make any taxable supply also. What do you mean by not to make taxable supply? It means you can make supply, but you can't issue tax invoice. It says it means he shall not issue tax invoice and not charge tax on the supplies during suspension. Sir, but tell me one thing, I can make supplies. I will not go ahead and issue tax invoice. It means I can issue only commercial invoice. I can't charge GST to my customer during the period of suspension. Supposingly, sir, this period my registration was suspended. I made supply. I gave invoice. I did not charge GST. Later, government went ahead and told, Ramesh, your registration will not be cancelled. Then what, sir? Now my rebirth has happened. I am now again a registered person. So during this period, whatever supplies you did, for that you did not charge GST, but you are liable. You are registered already. Suspension is revoked. Then they are going ahead and telling over here, if suspension is revoked and registration is revived, for all the invoices you should issue what? Revised tax invoice, and you should furnish your first return with respect to the supplies during the period of suspension. All these supplies ke liye, invoices ke liye, you should issue revised tax invoice. Revised tax invoice should be showed in the first return which you go ahead and file after your registration has been revived. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next point over here is a person whose registration has been suspended under 2 or 2A. 2 or 2A means basically when proper officer suspends or when portal may, because of discrepancies, your registration has been suspended, then they are going in and telling you shall not be granted any refund under section number 54 during the period of suspension. And always remember, the suspension under rule number 1, 2 or 2A shall be deemed to be revoked upon completion of cancellation proceeding. Might be during this period you are suspended, and later what happened, cancellation result came, they cancelled your registration. So it will not be that during this period your registration was suspended, then it was cancelled. Baba, they will go ahead and tell you that from this date we have cancelled your registration, and hence suspension will be revoked, and revocation will be effective from the date on which suspension had come into effect. From this date your registration will be, your suspension will be revoked, and basically they will go ahead and say from this date we are cancelling your registration. PO may revoke suspension anytime during the pendency of cancellation proceeding. PO was going ahead and doing your cancellation ka proceeding, and he noticed that sir, we should not cancel his registration. So your registration which was suspended will be revived again. Can I go ahead, everyone? He can revoke the suspension anytime. The next is proviso, where registration has been suspended under 2A, basically because of anomalies, your registration was suspended and you were issued a GST-RG 31 highlighting the anomalies. They are telling for contravention of 29 2B and C, might be GSTR 1B you showed the sale, GSTR 3B you did not file only. You're not filing your GSTR 3B. It means there are differences. GSTR 3B, you're not filing only. GSTR 1B, you're showing the sale. So in that scenario, proper officer can go ahead and, in that scenario, what happened? Because of the anomalies, your registration gets suspended. Now, instead of going ahead and replying, what you did, it says for contravention of 29 2B and C and registration is yet to be cancelled, the suspension shall be deemed to be revoked upon furnishing of all the pending return. You went ahead and did what? Your registration was suspended because might be there was anomalies, you are not going ahead and filing your returns, etc. Baba, just go online and file your return. Pay all your taxes, etc. And they are telling what, everyone? Your revocation will be suspended. It says the suspension shall be deemed to be revoked upon furnishing of all pending returns. Are we clear till here? Sir, my registration is cancelled, sir. Please revoke the cancellation. Please tear this cancellation order and throw. Then it comes section number 30. Revocation of suspension under rule number 23. It says registered persons who registration has been cancelled by the proper officer. Within 30 days, you can go ahead and make an application in GSTRG 21. Whenever you make an application for revocation, remember your Aadhaar authentication must be done. Revocation application should go within 30 days. If you can't go within 30 days, extension can be given by additional commissioner or joint commissioner by how many days, everyone? 30 days, and commissioner can give you additional time of 30 days. Once you go ahead and apply, if proper officer is satisfied, he will revoke the cancellation and issue an order in GSTRG 22. If he is not satisfied, he will go ahead and give you a show cause notice. You have to reply within 7 working days. If reply, when you give a reply, you should give what, everyone? Clarification information document. And within the next 30 days, if proper officer is satisfied, he will revoke the cancellation and issue an order. If he is not satisfied, he will get angry and he'll reject the application and he will pass an order in GSTRG 05. Always remember one thing, if you are applying for revocation because you have not filed your return and paid your taxes, please pay your taxes, file your return and then apply for revocation. It says proviso, if registration was cancelled due to non-filing of return, before applying, please file your return, pay the tax, interest, penalty, whatever is the late fee, please pay, then file your return and then apply for revocation. For an example, I have gone ahead and written over here that, sir, supposingly April to September you did not file your return, it means they can go ahead and issue you a show cause notice. You have to reply and then proper officer will give you a cancellation order because you are not filing your return. So they are going ahead and telling if your cancellation order has come over here, first to 6 months ka return you are not filed, plus October month ka return is also due in November, correct? November month ka return is not due by December 5th. So whatever the returns are due till cancellation order, first you have to go ahead and file the return till your cancellation order, pay all your tax, interest, penalty and late fee. And then, Baba, you have to apply for revocation. Once the revocation order comes, from revocation order till the, from cancellation order till the revocation order, whatever returns were due, those will be filed within the next 30 days. Are we clear, everyone? Sir, supposingly, this was about prospective registration cancellation, means your cancellation of registration was done from here. Supposingly, if you don't file your 6 months return over here and they went ahead and gave you a show cause notice, you replied and they gave you a cancellation order effective retrospectively from April. If retrospective effect is given to a cancellation order, you will not be able to file these returns now because you are not registered only. Your registration has been cancelled retrospectively. Then, Baba, they are telling first apply for revocation within 30 days plus extended period. Correct, everyone? 30 days ka extension can be given and another 30 days ka extension can also be given. Remember one thing, first file your revocation application without filing any return. They will give you the revocation order. Now, from here till the revocation order, whatever returns are due, all can be filed within the next 30 days. Are we all clear? This was about retrospective cancellation of registration. Remember one thing, registration chapter is a very, very important chapter. Sir, can you please tell us what are the important points? Remember one thing, Baba, this is A graded. your first chart which is there, section number 22 ka 1 point, section number 23 completely, and section number 24 must remember 100% small point here and there will be there in the exam. The next one over here, section number 25. I will recommend you to read this chart. Why, sir? Because small amendment is there. This point is there, which has come new. Sir, registration should be applied within 30 days. Wala point which is there. Rule number 10B, which is there. I like this point, everyone. This 3 point, I like it. Other than that, also you should read this chart. Be graded, although from exam point of view, but please, because of amendment, read this and go. They will go ahead and tell you, for an example, they will tell you, sir, one person is there, and what has happened is he has come under he has done Aadhaar authentication but has been identified by the portal. What are the further steps he should be taking? He should go to the facilitation center, correct or not, biometrics, taking photograph, etc. All those things you have to write and come. Can I go ahead? They will say Ram of Gujarat because only applicable in Gujarat. Done, everyone? So please read this and go. Can we go ahead? The next one over here is section number 25. In this, what I like is 6A, 6B, 6C and 6D. Aadhaar authentication. Okay, everyone. Other than that, you should remember one more point over here is the amendment part that TCS and TDS deductor and TCS collector can now make an application for cancellation of registration. Sir, done. This is important point which I like it. Other than that, 4 and 5 is anyways distinct person wala point. This chart is a big graded chart, everyone. Okay? Sir, this one, in this, I want you guys to remember core field of amendment. What are the different core field of amendment? This point you can remember. And remember one thing, amendment is always effective prospectively unless the commissioner gives you an order that your amendment will be given retrospective effect. Are we clear, everyone? See, here though always amendment is prospective. Here amendment can be retrospective provided the commissioner gives an order. Done, sir. Suspension may please remember the first 3 points which are there for suspension. Sir, what if suspension is revoked? This last point which is there, please be very careful. In section number 29, what I find important is section number 29.1 and section number 29.2. Are we clear? Otherwise, in this chapter, the primary chart which is there is your first chart, section number 22, 23, 24. Others are all B graded, but still, whatever points I find important, I've told you, important does not mean you leave everything other than that and go. Right, everyone? I'll close my discussion or I'll close my revision on the chapter of registration. Congratulations, people. Done.